Hey everyone, this is Sailor here with Freya to answer my own prompt. The BJD What Question prompt, which I will post the prompt video below so you guys can answer it if you want to. But let's get started. Before I get started, I have intentions of doing this for all of my dolls that I have so far. Some of them are still down for face-ups. But when they're all done, I'll do them. She's the one to go down next for her face-up, to redo her face-up. But yeah, let's get started. First question is, what is your favorite song? She doesn't necessarily have a favorite song, more like a type of music. The time period, a little backstory on this, the time period she is is in a different world, like an 1800 neo-Victorian steampunk era. That's just kind of the world she's in. To answer that question is Romani folk music. Because when she became an awoken, that's the people she ended up traveling with, her and Pico ended up traveling with, are known as Kuroche. They are cat people, but not like her. They're not full anthro humanoid cats. They are 25% furry, if anyone understands that. That is ears and tail, and that's it. Occasionally, Kuroche will have fangs and cat eyes. But that's the farthest that their variant of catness goes, of their cat physical features go. But because she was a cat awoken, they allowed her in their caravan, her and her sister in their caravan. And that's the kind of culture that the Kuroche are a loose Romani base, along with some other stuff. But my friend who made the game doesn't like to tackle real world culture or per se onto her game cultures. And then the next question is favorite drink. She has two. One would be pretty obvious because she's a cat. Milk. And the next one is honey water, which is just water sweetened with honey. Which is when she is with the Kuroche, is a delicacy that she can only afford when she sells her wares in the towns and outposts. When her and Pico go to live with Ophelia, it becomes less of a rarity because Ophelia is wealthy, a wealthy noblewoman. The next question is perfume or cologne. Lavender and lilac, if she had to choose. And it is because that is the scent that subconsciously reminds her the most of when she was before she was an awoken, when she was a fae. Because around their fae village, there was lots of lavender and lilac and that sort of plantage. And it was also the perfume that her mother would wear the most, and most fae women would wear. And it is a perfume that she wore before she was an awoken, even though she doesn't know it. But it's something subconscious deep down that she wears because of before she was an awoken. The next question is favorite quote. All who wander are not lost. Of course, that makes sense because she traveled with the Wanderers for quite some time. Also, another one I would say that is a favorite. Not all thieves are bad. Not all thieves are evil. Because in traveling with wanderers, traveling with those who don't get to make regular money, sorry, Facebook's beeping in, make regular money, sometimes they have to steal, cut purses and that kind of stuff. That's not her skill set, but she understands that, sometimes you have to do what you have to do to feed your family. A favorite childhood memory. While she doesn't really have one from childhood, like when she was little bitty, because she doesn't remember it, because that was before she was an awoken. When she became an awoken, when she died, she was about 17. 17 or 18. I haven't tacked down the quite age yet, but now she's 23, 24, something around that age. But at least she'll be that age when the game starts anyway. But if I had to say a favorite memory of her when she first became an awoken, so her awoken childhood, would be when she first joined the caravan, running around chasing the Kuroche children around the flowers and the beautiful grass and flowers that were in the meadow where they parked their caravans. She's always had a fondness for children, considering she had to raise her baby sister from her sister being the age of 1 when her mom died. Her dad died before her sister was born. But her mom died a year after her sister was born. And she always adored the Kuroche children, if I can speak, the Kuroche children when she was a fae. Because anytime a Kuroche caravan would roll into her village, she would always have Kuroche dolls for the little children. Always little bitty dolls, whether they be like wooden little dolls or nesting dolls, for the little children, and she wouldn't charge them any money. While Fae society would look at her with a very weirdness, they were like, oh, look, a toy. And that's something that another subconscious thing that she sort of picked up, even though now she's more like a child herself. The next question is biggest pet peeve. That would be people who think the only things you need are things that are going to be useful. Things that aren't useful, there's no need for them. Why would you even bother? And this is partially because she's a doll maker and a craftsman. She's not just a doll maker. She can make armor and she can make swords, but it's not something she does often. She makes dolls and she makes toys and stuff for children and other things like that. And that's her love. That's something she loves to do, while she does swords and armor for money. And she'll occasionally sell her dolls for money, but not that often. She usually just likes to give them away. While it's funny that people don't think her dolls are really worth anything, so they don't give them much mind, but they usually are. It depends on your culture, and it depends on the culture of the person and whether they know what she can do with them. That mind, sorry, screen went dark. In the Fae culture, which is what she originally was, people have funeral dolls. For those of you who don't know what that is a a doll that is in the exact likeness of the person who died, and it's set on their gravestone or in their tomb, and that's just part of the Fae culture and custom, and that's part of why she actually knows how to make dolls, even though she doesn't know that, because that's what she did. She was a Fae funeral doll maker, and that's what I meant by the Fae just sort of looked at her funny when she would give her dolls to children, because it was almost morbid in their society. And then, and the other thing is, she's a witch. There are three types of magic in this world. Arcane magic, which she does have. It is something you're born with. Arcane magic is different for every user, for every arcane mage. Whether it's fire, darkness, life, rain, water, elements, that kind of stuff. Every mage is different. There is divine magic, which is magic given to you by the gods, and then there's witchcraft, which is illegal in the majority of Terrace, which is the world. And witchcraft is, to give it the closest real world comparison, would be voodoo. It's voodoo. And not necessarily evil all the time. It doesn't have to be evil. It's not inherently evil. She uses hers to enchant her dolls to help her and other people. That also has to do with how she died, the witchcraft. But I'll get into that later. Favorite time of day? That would be twilight. Twilight is her favorite time of day. The food she dislikes: little bitty fish like caper and that kind of stuff. Anchovies. Characteristics you most dislike in yourself and in others. She's incredibly stubborn. That is something, she's always like, Freya, just give in a little bit, and she won't. She's very, very stubborn. And a characteristic she doesn't like in others is the people who aren't going to have any fun. The as she calls them, the grumpy pants people. The people who aren't willing to, be joyous. And that is it for this one. I hope it sheds a little more light into my characters, or into this character anyway. But like I said, I'll go into more detail into the stuff, like who she was before, and I have intentions of getting her a doll for when for her Fae self. But for now, it's just her. I have to hunt down the doll because it has to have these super, super pointy long ears. And that kind of stuff. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.